Basically, what's going on here, you have what's called the Textus Receptus. They're using all these late Byzantine texts and whatnot, and what they're saying is that this actually represents the actual text of the Bible, and the Textus Receptus is where your King James Version Bible comes from. In 1611, when the Catholic Church basically was trying to figure out how to sanction a English version of the Bible. And this is interesting because as we get farther into this text, basically into this discussion, one of Pinto's claims is that the Jesuits in the Catholic Church, the Vatican, they're responsible for bringing around these other texts. When in actuality, the KJV was sanctioned, was one of the sanctioned, it was the sanctioned version of the English version of the Bible by the Catholic Church. Okay, so that'll become important a little bit later, but right now, what we're talking about is and we've talked about the KJV, we've done an entire show on KJV only before. The King James Version Bible that people use within the church today is not the King James Version Bible of 1611. It's just not. There was a later version of the KJV that came out, which is the standard that's being used now. So those who are KJV only, they aren't even really using the KJV as it was first published. But this is beyond the point. Okay, so the KJV was based upon the Textus Receptus, okay, and that is this body of different texts. Okay, we're preaching here to people who are well informed, so I'm sure everybody's saying, yeah, get on with it. Okay, so those are the Textus Receptus is considered, the texts that make up the Textus Receptus is considered the Western text. Okay, and then we have what are called the Eastern texts. These are texts like Vaticanus, Alexandrinus, Ephraemi, Receptus, and Codex Sinaiticus. Okay, so what's the difference? Basically what happens is you have these texts. Now, stop me at any point, by the way, or throw in your voice at any point. Rob. Okay. So, we have Codex Alexandrinus, which we know a lot of the history of that. It wasn't really well looked at or anything like that up until what? The 14th, 15th century, right? It was given it was given as a gift. Go ahead.
No, that's right. No, that's right. Go ahead.
What was that?
Well, because we have different collections of texts that are discovered at different times, right?
Correct. Okay, so you have basically now. Granted, okay, what you have is in terms of the Vaticanus. Now, I read something on a Wikipedia page, and I can't substantiate it anywhere else, so I think that the Wikipedia page is off. Vaticanus was in the Vatican. It's said that people knew about it and whatnot. However, you don't have the text of Vaticanus coming around until the 1800s. 19th century, okay? You don't actually have the text being extant until the 19th century. And who made the first, and this is basically when Tischendorf comes in. Okay, so you have Constantine von Tischendorf. This guy he is Indiana Jones in real life. He was, and I'm not saying that I'm 100% for Tischendorf. I'm just saying the finds that he had in terms of what the scholarly world believes of his finds were amazing. Okay, Tischendorf was from Leipzig. He's a German guy, and he did all of this when he was very young. So at the age of 28, one of the first things he did was he made a translation of Codex Ephraemi Receptus. This is a text, and I'll read this. It says, the parchment has been recycled, originally inscribed with scriptural texts. The pages were washed, removing most of the ink, and reused for another text. And the text that was written on the recycled pages in the 12th century consisted of Greek translations of 38 treatises composed by Ephraim the Syrian, a prominent bishop of the Middle of the mid 4th century, manuscripts of this sort. Okay, blah blah blah. So, and full disclosure, that was taken from Wikipedia. However, I've read other things on this, but this was just a small little blurb I wanted to use. Okay. So what did Tischendorf do when he was 28 years old? He went and he was the first person who could actually look at the text, figure out what was underneath it. They had done some chemical things to try to bring the text out, but people still couldn't read it. Tischendorf goes in. He has great eyesight, which he attributes to his mother praying for him when she saw a blind man while she was pregnant with him. He says that she prayed that he would have good eyesight, and so he had better than normal eyesight, and he was able to make this translation. As it stands today, the translation that he made of this text, Codex Ephraimi Receptus, is 99% accurate. 99%, which is unbelievable.
And he didn't have technology like we have today to discern. So, just a picture of the economics there. It's expensive to come up with writing surfaces, right, in the Middle Ages. So they would take text that they thought, you know what, it's more important, I need to copy this other thing, and they would try to recycle old texts.
Yeah,
or
and
writing surfaces.
Somebody's probably thinking, there's enough of the Bible around, we don't need this.